gave away your kingdom, a fool, what can I say? I'll endow you, my coxcomb, you have nothing left to pay. An uncle wants your daughters, they are mothers to you now. You gave them the rod as you put your breeches down. A fool's tale. Fool's tale. A tale of King Lear, who was old enough a fool to cast away his kingdom, for he fell too old to rule. Goneril, Regan, and Cordelia held most dear, each to gain a third as the heritage of Lear. As the heritage of Lear. To give away a kingdom, a fool, what can I say? I'll endow you, my coxcomb, you have nothing left to pay. An uncle wants your daughters, they are mothers to you now. You gave them the rod as you put your breeches down. A fool's tale. Each daughter is to step forth to beguile the aging king, to tell him how they love him, and so sweet their tongues did sing. Just Cordelia fell silent, she did not want to betray her true love by sweet lies, as their sisters them did say.
Hello folks, today we have Tommy here from Rebellion, and he will ask us some fucking questions. I will ask you some questions for the new album, Tragedy of Steel Part 2.
And it's about King Lear, isn't it?
It is.
Aye. Hello everybody. Yes.
Tommy, can you tell us something about the intention to make a second album of the Shakespeare stuff?
Aye. Actually, I had the idea to do this album right after the Macbeth album, but Uwe at that time felt tired of concepts and wanted to do an album without concepts, so we did Born a Rebel and we never did King Lear. So the idea of doing King Lear has been on my mind for quite some time actually, and it was interestingly Michael who came up with the idea to do King Lear because he wanted sort of a different album after having done so many historical concept albums. And so I was easily convinced, of course, having had the idea myself for some time. And so the last 2.5 years probably I spent reading Shakespeare's King Lear and trying to forge a heavy metal album out of the stuff, which actually is not so complicated because it's depressing and full of violence. People's eyes get taken out, and a king falls mad. So it's a bit of the typical stuff for a heavy metal album. Yes.
Instead of that, I come to a question of a fan.
Aye.
From Australia, it's Jason. Jason sent us a question, and I think you not read King Lear in the last 2 years. I think you read it before, oh?
Aye.
So, from which time you are interested on Shakespeare stuff?
Oh, well, Jason, I've read my first Shakespeare, which was in fact Macbeth, when I was a student. I was about 18 years old at that time. And from that time on, I studied English literature, so I remained in contact with Shakespeare. So basically, it's me, the English and history teacher, that takes an interest in Shakespeare. And as I said, I've been reading Shakespeare once in a while throughout my whole life. Read most of his plays. I do teach Shakespeare at school to my students, and so yeah. Well, that's me, Jason. Thanks for the question, and greets to Australia.
So also, Jason, I can tell you, I know him, I think, since the time, and
Aye.
he always not interested only on Shakespeare, also on Scottish whiskey.
Aye, why not? This is a good benefit we're having right now. Well, actually, I'm having it because Marc has had his already.
Yeah, this is empty.
And as you can see, the bottle is empty, so...
Yeah, okay. So I think a little bit later we come to the next bottle. So now we have another question. Is from Yondri, from South Korea.
South Korea, my God.
South Korea. And he asked, how did you match the songwritings and the topics?
Well, as I said, for about 2.5 years ago, I started reading Lear with the idea of making an album out of the stuff. So when we started with the songwriting about a good year ago, or maybe 1.5 years ago, I already had a vague idea how things could be. So I talked to the rest of the band, to the two guitar players, Stefan and Oliver, and told them, well, this is like the story as I plan it. This is like the songs I would like to have. This is the topic for the songs about. I'm relatively open, you know, I could still move it a bit left or a bit right. But the basic idea was there, and so they set about to write songs that would fit the topics. So it was pretty much a process of listening to riffs and to song ideas and saying, yeah, maybe this is a bit more like that and this is a bit more like that. In some cases I also adapted the lyrics and the topics to the songs. When one of them came up with a brilliant song, I said, well, this is just fine as it is, we just need to adapt the concept a bit to fit the song. So it was a bit of a communication stuff.
Okay. Instead of that, I have a question too.
Aye.
How long is the total playing time of the album?
I think it's over 60 minutes, 65 or 66 minutes. This is why we're not having any vinyl, simply because it's too long, sorry.
Okay. So now we have a question from Marc from USA, not from me, from Marc from the USA. And he asked, how did you manage to rehearse all the songs in the practice room?
This is a good question, actually. When the band split, when Uwe and Gerd and Simone left the band, I had the chance to completely rebuild the band, and I wanted it to be a band of friends that could practice every week. And so I took people from the local area whom I personally have known for some time, and actually now we practice every week, sometimes twice a week. So all the songwriting was not done as it's normally with professional bands, recording MP3s, sending them by emails, adding to the record, sending them back, and so on. But we actually did it old school. We met in the practice room, we rehearsed and we practiced all the songs, and we actually had played every song in the practice room before we went into the studio to record it. And I find that you can hear it on the album. It seems very alive and very authentic, as much as I hope you will also find it.
So it becomes really a band of brothers.
You know, it is in a way, a band of friends at least. But talking about friends, I think we're running short on whiskey. Sarah, could you just help us out, please?
Oh yes!
Oh, of course I could.
Oh.
Give you a bit of a change from the ugly old man here.
From this ugly
young man. Sarah, what are we having?
What's better, the whiskey or the
We have
server?
a Glenrothes, 8 years old, and it's a single cask, I guess.
And can you tell us how much alcohol it has?
It has 66.1% alcohol.
That's the stuff for real men, isn't it?
Yeah, okay.
Not the 48% pussy stuff.
So,
thanks, love.
we are sorry that you cannot taste it, but we taste it for you.
Oh yeah.
Slouchy.
Slouchy.
Mmm. You missed something.
It's strong, isn't it?
Yes, a little bit. Okay, now we come to a question from Jan from Germany. He asked, you have spoken passages on the album, like in the Macbeth tragedy, something like that.
We have spoken passages also, but this time we handled it a bit differently than on the Macbeth album. We integrated actually all passages into the songs. At some point a guitar solo could not happen thanks to a spoken passage. Ollie still thinks it's due to the spoken passages, but it gave us a break from his guitar solos, of course, but don't tell Ollie. So we have them in partly where normally a guitar solo would be, or we have them in C parts, like in middle parts. In a way, we did sort of write some songs around the spoken passages. So we picked passages, I picked passages from the book that I really wanted to have on the album, and then we sort of wrote the songs to fit those passages, and so they're part of the songs actually. At times it sounds a bit like an audiobook, but we really tried to balance it well enough, so after all it's a metal album and it still is. So we hope you will like it. It's definitely a bit different, yes. I should think so.
So also you use it for the parts you have no ideas for music or what?
I used it for the parts Ollie had no ideas for good guitar solos. And I suggested bass solo, of course, but nobody would hear of that. So since I got no bass solos, I got myself some spoken passages. And of course, I picked some of the most brilliant passages of King Lear, that the monologue where he's like damning his daughter, and I spoke those myself, and that was really great, you know.
Okay. Next question
Aye.
from a fan.
Aye.
It's from Slaven from Croatia. He say that's a question I have too, because I hear some things of the music, some parts. Did the topic influence the sound of the album? Because the tragedy of the stuff have an influence to the album?
Aye. It was basically very strange when the album was done and we listened to it for the first time. Only having worked on songs at one time, you know, recording some bass, doing some vocals, but we listened to the album as a whole at some time. We all sit there, and that was.
That's not rebellion.
No, it is rebellion, of course, but it's extremely different. It's like. At times you feel it's like Pink Floyd or Marillion, because, see, this is an album about a king that has made a stupid decision, a foolish decision, and over this, then he pays for it. His daughters kick him out after he gave him his kingdom, and over his grief, he goes mad and howls in the storm, and one of his closest friends is blinded, his eyes are taken out. This is a scene I also have spoken on the album, of course, brilliant. And in the end, there's a big battle, and the one daughter that still stands with her father, she dies in his arms by betrayal. So it's a sad album where the feelings take a lot of room, and so we wrote songs that have enough room to bring across those feelings, the madness, the betrayal of the daughters, I never really thought of the album as an album, but I thought of each song first of all. So I simply worked on the songs. Of course I had the album in the back of my mind, but when we recorded the songs, we changed them according to how the recording went. So the lyrics were in the end different than we had planned them actually. And so the album sort of grew as in its own way, and in the end, it has become something that we did not plan, and it's definitely, like probably the Arise album, tested the boundaries, what still is rebellion, in a way how modern could this band sound, and I think this album is just the opposite to the Arise album. It will test the boundaries, how old-fashioned can the band sound. Also, when we recorded the album, we have only 2 guitars on it. So not as normal bands do with 10 guitars added to each other to get a lot of guitar, but we have 1 guitar and a second guitar, and one is completely panned to the left and one is completely panned to the right. One is Ollie, one is Stefan, and in the middle there's a lot of room for drums, for bass, and for vocals. And this way of recording actually represents much more how the band sounds live, and it is actually the way how the big classical metal albums of the 80s were recorded. So we're doing a very old-fashioned sound, and we have a very old-fashioned drum sound, of course, because a lot of room microphones and no triggers at all, hardly any overdubs. And there's even some flaws, some playing mistakes on the album, but we thought it just adds to the liveness of the album. So so we're having actually a classical album that is heading towards the past, that is looking towards the past, and that is testing boundaries in another direction. Is that still rebellion? We feel it still is, but definitely we were surprised when we listened to it for the first time. We're curious and really interested to see how you like it when you will listen to it for the first time.
So I only can say, as someone who have a lot of views of the metal world in the moment, it's good that some bands take old-fashioned ways again and make clear sounds and not thousands of sounds, and then you go to a concert and you think, who the hell is that? No. So I think this will be a good way to make original sounded music with a ground.
Aye.
Yeah, not with a digital background.
Aye, we've definitely tried to do it more old school, more old fashioned, look towards the 80s when metal was really big. And this is also, by the way, sort of connecting to the Macbeth album that actually sounds also old fashioned for its time. So on the live concerts, we will focus also on the Macbeth album. We will play 3 or 4 or 5 songs from the Macbeth album live, and we will play 4 or 5 songs from the new album live. And so a lot of songs that we have been playing for years will simply be cancelled for this tour. So there is nothing sacred. Any song can go. We've been playing it for years and years. And so we'll put together a completely new live album focusing on the first album of the band and on the last album of the band. So that may also be interesting for fans to see live.
So cool.
Aye.
Because this, I have some questions from Jacek, he's from Poland, and from Peter, he's from Austria. They ask, you will play your tour also in Poland and Austria, or you only play in Germany on the next tour?
So far we have only booked gigs for Germany, but the tour is not finished yet, so if you have any idea, any place where we can play, and some promoter that will pay for it, we will come. We're not really that expensive, so we're still hoping to get booked in maybe, for example, Austria. I'd love to play in Poland. I love Poland, brilliant country. Been there quite often. Visited Gdansk, for example, and so Poland would be lovely. Aye.
So this is a point all the bookers have to know. You can book Rebellion for Poland and Austria.
Oh, you can book us anywhere in the world.
Yeah, so I think so. That was the next. The next question is from Maria in Germany. You know where you will play live in Germany? Or you have some tour gigs already booked?
Yes, I think the tour is first gigs are booked. Then I'll just keep an eye on our Facebook group, on our homepage, and news will be there. Will be announced. If you feel we should play in your town again, just contact us and we'll see if we can make it happen. But you need to bring a promoter, of course.
Yeah. And then the last question from a guy who asked a question on the internet is from Philip. He asked you will play in Brazil?
Oh, we'd love to play in Brazil, of course. I've played in Brazil once with Gravedigger, that was fantastic. With Brazil and Argentina, that was brilliant. I'd love to do that again, but right now I think this is dreams. To get a band over is so expensive. I don't think we'll find a promoter to do that.
That's the same. I hope we can make exchange. We have some friends from South America, Storso, really big band in South America. They will play here. They have the same problem. No one will book them here because it's too expensive.
Right.
So we can ask them to come here and Rebellion go to there. So
it's like in a swinger club.
It will be, yeah.
Partner exchange.
Exchanging. Will be fun.
Aye.
Slangy,
Marc.
So, and now we come to the last question of the day.
How big is your dick?
No.
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 Okay. Not very big
I don't want to ask you questions like this.
It's not very big anyway. Wee tiny wiener.
Okay, last question for today is when is the release of the album?
I think
And
it's
the next one, this is a double question,
Oh,
is who made the artwork for the cover?
The artwork was done by Björn Gossens from Kilography or Kilographics. What's it?
Illustration.
Come here, sorry.
You only hear her, you have to see her. Because, you know, when you talk about...
So, Sarah, who did the artwork?
Björn Gosses from Illustrations.
So, Björn, Sarah, just for you, you got the pictures from her.
This is the artwork for the interview, you know.
This is the artwork for the interview. Done by Sarah Lover Photography.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good.
So, what was the question again? Ah, first question. I forgot the first question over Sarah.
You was too... yeah, okay, too impressed, I think. Could be. Yeah.
How could you not be?
What was the what was the second part of the question? I don't know.
How big is your dick?
No. Okay.
Album release will be on the 26th, I think, of January. And I'll tell you something, it's brilliant. Go out and get it and listen to it. And please don't download it. Get the real stuff, because we have a 20-page booklet and we have all the lyrics in the booklet, and we got nice pictures of ourselves taken by Sarah in the booklet, so you can have a read while you have a listen. Okay, guys, so keep metal alive. Thanks to everybody up there. This one goes to you up there. Cheers and slouchy.
Have a good one.
Aye.